What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and welcome to another episode of our First Down Training show. Today, we're going to be talking about 10 tips to help you out for your first season of tackle. Then we're going to be getting into some current events. We're going to talk about some recent news with Rodgers, and that the top 10 highest paid NFL quarterbacks have not actually won a Super Bowl. Then we'll be answering some of your guys' questions that you left on a previous episode, so I appreciate you guys tuning in. Let's get started. So if it's your first season of tackle, whether you're a youth, middle school, or high school athlete, these are 10 things that are really going to help you make that transition a lot smoother and just have a better time getting used to tackle football, because it is different than flag football or maybe just not playing football at all. So tip number one, start training in pads and a helmet as soon as possible. So I know pads and helmets can be insanely expensive these days. I know a lot of you are probably going to get the pads and the helmet that the school provides or the team provides, because teams do that. But what I will say is go to Dick's Sporting Goods and get a cheap pair of shoulder pads. It could be the cheapest brand possible. It could be hand-me-down pads even if you want, and a very cheap helmet. The reason why you want that, you're not getting hit. You're just getting used to the feel of having pads on and a helmet on. No matter what position you are, receiver, quarterback, running back, lineman, and just get used to that feeling, because it's a different feeling, and you're going to feel slower, you're going to feel weighed down, you're going to feel uncomfortable, your neck's going to be really sore. You don't want to be getting used to all of that come August 1st when it's time to put the actual pads on in your actual season. So make sure you take care of that, fellas. Later on in this episode, we're going to talk about some good pairs of pads and helmets that you should get that are great for safety and great for mobility if you want to spend a little bit more money, but I would recommend doing that, number one. Number two, start doing contact drills in your training. So let's say you're a quarterback, because guys, I didn't play tackle football until I was a freshman in high school. I played flag football from the time I was like third grade all the way till eighth grade. I was a quarterback, and it was more of like a decision of like, hey, if I'm playing youth ball, it's going to be a lot of handing the ball off. I want more passing reps. I made sure that I had a private trainer, and what my private trainer did when I was getting ready for high school is he got a blocking pad, and I was in full gear, and I would throw and he'd just pop me with the pad. I would be moving in the pocket, he'd hit me. I'd be throwing on the run, he'd hit me, just to get you used to some type of contact. Now, even quarterbacks, you don't get that much contact, but if you're a receiver, a running back, a linebacker, you're getting a lot of contact. So you need to get used to that and get comfortable with that, because you don't want the first hit that you ever take to be when it's like actually like matters. Like training matters, of course, but you're training to get better. But when you're at practice, you're there to impress your coaches and earn a starting spot. And if that's the first time you're getting hit, you might be a little uneasy with that at first. That's a totally normal feeling, but you don't want that to happen in August. You want that to happen right now, okay? Now, tip number three, practice with a built-in girdle in your practice pants. So this is for when you actually get into your season, just to help you out with mobility, and this is something you could actually do when you train. I know one of the hardest things for me to get used to, and nobody talks about this, transitioning from flag football to tackle football was the pants. Like, dude, like I was so used to just playing in basketball shorts, full mobility, felt fast, felt like I was going, and then you put on those football pants and you're just like, God, I can't move. Like, this sucks. Get used to that. So what I recommend is, instead of getting like a girdle, like a Nike, Adidas girdle, and then putting football pants over that, they have practice pants where the girdle is built into the pants. Those are way better to practice with, in my opinion. So what I would do is I would invest in that. They're like Schutt has a pair, Rydell has a pair, but the girdle is built into the practice pants, and I would wear those while you're doing training just to get comfortable with it, because that is restricting, especially if you're a speed player like a receiver or a running back. So I would get used to that as soon as possible as well. Now, tip number four, make sure you're in shape. You guys, I'm telling you this right now, your flag football conditioning does not even compare to the conditioning that you're going to be doing in tackle football. Doesn't even compare. I'm just going to be honest with you right now. So I remember when I was an eighth grader going into my freshman year, luckily my dad, he wasn't a real successful football player. He didn't play in college or nothing like that, but he did play in high school. And he was the one who got me used to like throwing in gear, because he was a flag guy, and he was like, man, I couldn't even throw with the pads on, and you don't want that to be you. But also he made sure that I was in shape. And that was one thing that he had when he was a player. He made sure that he was in shape. So he always tried to instill that into me, and I felt like I was the most conditioned athlete on that team, even though I hadn't played a snap of tackle football yet. So I would say 2 to 3 times a week, fellas, you should be training for your conditioning. Now, football conditioning is different than like soccer. Soccer, you probably got to run miles, like 2-3 mile runs. That gets you in like soccer conditioning, right? Football is very stop and go. It's sprint, stop, sprint, stop. And so you should be doing probably 2 to 3 times a week some type of sprint routine. I know for me, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays were my conditioning days. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I ran bleachers. So I did probably about 20 to 25 sprints up a pair of stadium stairs. So there was a local high school by where I lived. I would go there and I would sprint up those stairs, walk down, do it again. And then on Sundays, I would go out to a field and I would either run with a sled, run with a parachute, or just run straight up sprints. And I made sure that I was in shape because tackle football conditioning is extremely tough. And I would recommend conditioning with the pads and the helmet on sometimes, just because that can get you more used to it, because that's what you have to do at practice, okay? Now, tip number 5, let's talk about helmets. So what I would say, and obviously helmets and pads don't make the player. You could have the nicest pair of pads, nicest pair of a helmet, or nicest helmet, I guess I should say. And if you're not good, you're not good. It's not going to make or break you as a player, but it can make things easier, right? And I'm sure a lot of you are probably concerned about safety, right? If it's your first season of tackle, you're probably a little worried, like, oh man, like, you know, there's all this information out there about concussions, injuries. I want to make sure that I'm safe. If you go on Google and search up Virginia Tech football helmet rankings. Every year, Virginia Tech comes out with the highest rated football helmets from a safety perspective. And you'll see all kinds of helmets on that list, and they rank them. And they rank, it's kind of a weird ranking system, but it's easy to understand. But they rank them as terms of what's the safest. So the safest ones are probably going to be a little bit more expensive. The non-safe ones, like, are probably not going to be as expensive. But I would recommend a couple brands. Vices, so V-I-C-I-S, Vices, very expensive, but always highly rated. Light helmets, L-I-G-H-T, exactly how it sounds, very, very expensive, but highly rated. Rydell Speedflex, Schutt F7. Those two are cheaper than the Light and the Vices, but I think those 4 helmets, you can't really go wrong. I recommend purchasing your own equipment, only if you can afford it. If you can't afford it, I get it. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not trying to press this on anybody, like, because again, helmets and equipment are very, very expensive. And that's part of the reason why the school provides it for a lot of athletes, because they want to be able to get kids to play football who maybe don't come from a lot of money and don't have spare income to spend, which is totally fine. If you go with the school's gear, that's totally fine. I'm not trying to make you feel bad if you go with the school's gear, but I do recommend it because you never know what you might get with the team's gear. You might get, like, I remember my freshman year, the first pair of pads they gave me were lineman pads. I had to go back to them and be like, hey guys, like, I'm not a lineman. Like, I need skill pads. I can't throw on these. And I remember the first helmet that I got, it was a Rydell Speed at the time, but the crossbar was like up in my line of vision, so I was doing this when I was trying to throw. So you just never know what gear you're going to get. It could be passed down. Your football program could be poorly funded. So I recommend getting your own gear. Okay, now let's talk about shoulder pads. So best shoulder pads, and this is tip number 6, if you will. So for pads, they obviously have different kinds of pads. They have lineman pads, they have linebacker running back pads, and then they have QB wide receiver pads, right? For the QB, for the skill guys, I recommend 2 brands, a little pricey. 2-in-1, so that's where you put like a vest on and then a plate over the vest, and you have insane mobility, guys. You can touch your hands over your head. You have insane mobility this way, same mobility this way. So it's great for receivers, great for quarterbacks. You have a lot more range of motion than what you would normally have with like a Rydell pair of pads or any other brand. A little pricey. They have 2 types. They have a polyester one and then a carbon fiber one. The carbon fiber one is ridiculously overpriced in my opinion, but I'm assuming the carbon fiber is much more expensive to make and craft, so that's why it's a higher price. I would go with the polyester ones. That's just me. Second brand would be X-Tech. So X, the letter X, Tech, T-E-C-H. X-Tech has good stuff. It's fully custom, so you could give them your like dimensions if you like size yourself up, and they'll give you a pair of pads, great for quarterbacks. A lot of like NFL quarterbacks wear X-Tech. A lot of NFL wide receivers wear X-Tech, so that's a great brand too as well for the skill guys. And then I would recommend for all positions, probably Zenith. Now, I've heard that Zenith is going out of business, so you might be able to get some pads on the cheap, but I would recommend Zenith. Zenith has a great pair of shoulder pads, okay? So that's what I would say for pads. Now, tip number 7, work out in the gym, please. So I'm going to tell you, there are 2 camps, right? There are guys that are middle school youth athletes that maybe don't lift in the gym. We're going to talk about what you should do. And then there are guys going into high school. Start with the high school. If you're going into high school or in high school and it's your first season of tackle, you got to be lifting, man. You cannot go in there never touching weight. You need to be lifting this summer. Reason why is because, like, guys, tackle football, there's some big scary dudes at any level. big linemen, big linebackers, guys who hit hard. The more muscle you have, the bigger you are, the easier it's going to be to withstand hits. So you need to put on some size. You need to get some type of workout routine. We have workout routines that we offer. If you just post in the comments below and you say you like a gym routine that you can do, I could send you over one that we offer as well. Or you could get a local trainer at just a local gym to make some type of program for you that you can follow. So guys, I'm telling you right now, you need to be lifting. Now, if you're a youth athlete, maybe you don't want to lift. Maybe I don't recommend lifting heavy for the younger athletes, but you got to do something. You got to do something. You got to get bigger somehow. You got to get stronger somehow, because you want to be the person inflicting pain, not the person getting pain. Or you want to be that dude that's able to break tackles or not just crumble at the sight of contact. So this guy's doing push-ups, air squats, any type of body weight exercise. It's going to put a little muscle on you. So do that. I don't care if you're 9 years old. Do it. Get in some type of workout routine to put on some size so you could withstand those hits, okay? Now, tip number 8, you guys, show up to everything. Something like I feel like, and again, there are a lot of dedicated flag football players out there. I'm not trying to knock flag football. Some people think that I knock flag football. Sometimes I don't. I think flag football is great. But what I will say, I feel like sometimes people who play flag football, because flag football is always like year-round, right? They got freaking fall season, spring, winter, summer, like they have all the seasons, right? So I feel like a lot of people don't take it as serious as how you should take tackle football. Tackle football, there's really only one season in the fall. Some states, I think most states, just not where I live, it's ridiculous, California, they might have spring tackle. So like there's 2 seasons, but tackle football, guys, you gotta be there. Coaches will get pissed if you are missing practice. So you need to take it serious. You need to have a conversation with your mom and your dad. If you're parents, you need to understand this, but if you need to have a conversation with your mom and your dad, like, hey, I want to be dedicated, because tackle football is a little bit different, you guys. It's not like little Johnny can miss flag practice and then he'll be starting on Friday night lights. No. Guys, you're missing practice, you ain't going to play. And I'm assuming most of you watching this probably want to play. So you got to be at everything. Every team event, every practice, stay late after practice, do extra work, go to the conditioning workouts. Obviously, if there's like a death in the family or something major, yeah, you can miss. But be at everything you're physically able to be at. Explain to your parents, hey, practice is at this time. I need you to get me there, or we need to figure out a way that I could get there ahead of time, not the night before practice, ahead of time. Or explain to them, listen, I know I have all these appointments coming up for my braces or whatever it is. We need to schedule those around my football practice, because football is important to me and it's important that you are there, okay? So I hope that makes sense, you guys. Now, tip number 9, prepare mentally for it to suck really bad. What do I mean by that? Tackle football is hard, man. It's hard. We talked about this earlier in this video. You're in August. It's hot. You get the full gear on. You're going to want to quit. It's going to be really hard. It's not all freaking catching touchdowns and, cheerleaders, if you will. It sucks. The practices suck. The practices are long. You got to prepare yourself mentally for that so you don't quit. A lot of dudes want to play tackle football, and then, springtime, it's great. It's freaking great. You're working out. This is high school ball. You're working out in the gym. You go to spring practice, t-shirt and shorts. You're not getting hit. Oh, I love football. And then August 1st rolls around. You put the helmet on. You're like, oh, God, my neck is sore. Put the pads on. You're getting hit. You're like, God, my body is in so much pain right now. I don't want to go to practice. A lot of guys fall off. A lot of guys quit. You don't see them at practice anymore. And it's just, you got to prepare mentally for it to be really, really tough. I don't care what level you're at, but tough things make you better. Doing hard things make you a better person, make you a better athlete. Nobody got better doing easy work. Nobody ever did, right? If you go to the gym, and let's just use something super simple like bench press. You want to get a bigger chest, right? Let's say you want to do 8 reps on bench, and you just do like the bar and 25s, and you do 8 reps super easy. You don't even feel resistance. And you do 3 sets of that. You're not getting bigger. You need to feel some resistance. Put a plate on there. Do 8 reps. Make it challenging. That's how you get better, right? So, guys, anything that's tough is going to make you better, but you need to prepare mentally for it to be very, very tough, okay? Now, tip number 10. At practice, be focused on getting better, not just getting through it. So we just talked about how much football sucks, right? We talked about like, oh, it's going to be really, really hard. It's hard conditioning. You're getting hit. Your neck's going to be sore, whatever. A lot of times, guys at practice just want to get through it. They just want to be that guy who's just like, oh man, it's just like, okay, I'm gonna get through it. Guys, you're there to get better. That's what practice is about. And if you want to be a good football player, it's not like, let's say you're joining tackle football the first time when you're in high school. You could still get recruited. You could still get an offer. You could still play college football. It's possible. I'm a byproduct of that. But at practice, you need to have the mindset of not just getting through it, you're there to get better. So in conditioning, push yourself. At practice, when it's really hot and you're doing position drills, push yourself. When you're in team periods, push yourself. You're going on scout team, push yourself. You need to get better every day that you are practice if you want to be a good football player. Practice is not just about getting through it, okay? So I hope that makes sense, fellas. So now, guys, we're going to get into some current events after those 10 tips. Then we're going to be answering some of your guys' questions that you left on a previous video. But before we get into that, fellas, if you are an athlete and you need to gain weight this off season, check out that very first link in the description below where you guys can get our AG Labs Whey Protein Powder. This is our salted caramel frappuccino flavor, but we also have a few other flavors like cookies and cream. We also have chocolate peanut butter brownie. We have cinnamon snickerdoodle, the best tasting protein on the market to help you guys gain weight. We talked about that earlier in this video, that you need to gain weight if you're going to be playing at the next level. Protein consumption is the best way to do that. If you're like 130 pounds and you're like an 8th grader, you should be trying to get to 145, 150. You need to consume like 150 grams of protein a day. Hard to do without protein powder. This protein, we got, let's see, 25 grams of protein per serving. You take 2 scoops of this a day, that's 50 grams of protein right there. That means you only have to eat 90 grams on top of that, which is extremely doable. So guys, very first link in that description below if you want to get our protein powder. If you use the promo code FIRST25, FIRST25 at checkout, you get 25% off your protein order. So now, guys, let's get into some current events. So current event number 1. All right, so this is going to be an interesting one. Heartbreaking. Aaron Rodgers' ex-girlfriend, Danica Patrick, says her relationship with Rodgers was emotionally abusive and left a trail of blood. It was sudden and the nature of the relationship was emotionally abusive. Danica calls it the most painful experience of her life. So she was on a podcast with Sage Steele talking about this. Aaron Rodgers is my guy. I like Aaron Rodgers. You know, this girl, Danica Patrick, I'm sure people know her. She drives like NASCAR, I think. Talking about how the relationship was very emotionally abusive and it was hard for her to get over Aaron Rodgers, etc. Like if it was, here's what again, guys, the reason why I talk about this is a lot of young men watch this, right? A lot of young athletes, maybe their parents, whatever. I'm a common sense guy. I'm a big common sense guy, and I think a lot of times what people do is that they read headlines and they don't think about it commonsensically, if you will. They just read it and they go, oh my God, it's terrible, and then they're on to the next thing, on to the next information. And I feel like what the media does, whether it's social media, whether it's TV, is it programs a lot of people to just be robots. They read a headline, oh my God, that must be true, and they don't think for themselves. That's kind of one of my problems with the education system in this country, is that I feel like there's not enough critical thinking going on. Some schools for sure. Some schools do a great job of it, but I know the schools that I was put up in, it was, this was the way, this is how it is, this is the right answer, that's the wrong answer. No room for thinking for yourself. You gotta be able to think for yourself sometimes. And this is a good example of that. If it was so bad, like if he's just an awful person, like just like a terrible guy, abusive emotionally, verbally, whatever, right? Why don't you just leave? Like you're Danica Patrick. Like, probably get any dude that you want, right? So like, I challenge you guys when you read headlines about football players, about anything, look at it logically. If it was so bad, why was it so hard to get over him? Like if it's hard, usually when it's hard to get over somebody, it's because they're like a good person and you feel bad about it. Like take it from me. I've made plenty of mistakes in like relationships, if you will, and I feel bad about it after. I'm like, man, like, you know, she was a good person. Like, damn, like, but if she was I've dealt with a lot of crazy girls too as well, and people who weren't good for me. And when you're out of that situation, you're like, thank God, like I'm free. You know what I mean? So it just doesn't make sense to me. That's all I'm trying to say. So I challenge you guys, as young men watching this, think for yourself and think logically when you read headlines, because trust me, that logical thinking makes you a better person in like real life situations. You know what I mean? The nice part about I own a business, right? So I'm having to make common sense decisions all day. Like, should I post this video? Nah, people wouldn't like that. Should I post this one? Yeah, people would like that because it's all about common sense. And common sense is not common these days because I feel like education systems, the media programs us to be bots. So hope that shed some light. I know it's kind of a weird story. We don't really talk about that type of stuff, but I thought it'd be interesting. And I thought I could give you guys some value. Now, next thing, fellas, this is pretty crazy to me. None of the top 10 highest paid quarterbacks have won a Super Bowl. Dak Prescott, $60 million a year. Brock Purdy, $53 a year. Josh Allen, $55. Lamar Jackson, $52. Jared Goff, $53. Like, that's pretty crazy to me, and I think that just goes back to the whole Tom Brady situation. Tom Brady was not the highest paid NFL quarterback, but he's the greatest of all time, won the most Super Bowls. Why is that? Because he didn't break the bank. He was like, hey, I'm going to take less money. Let's go get these players. Let's go get this player. Let's go get that guy so they can get paid accordingly so we can acquire them, have the best team, then be able to go. You know what I mean? So I would, this is something that I feel, this is my take. Like, you look at a guy like maybe Michael Jordan, probably arguably the highest paid athlete ever, but he got his money not from the Bulls. He got his money, and granted, he was getting paid a lot, but he got his money because of Jordan, because of the brand. And if Michael Jordan wasn't Michael Jordan, the Jordan brand wouldn't be the Jordan brand. You know what made the Jordan brand the Jordan brand? Michael Jordan fucking winning all the time. Sorry for my language. Freaking winning all the time, right? Won all the championships, all the success, the way he played the game, that's what did it, right? Tom Brady, look at him. Outside of football, arguably is probably going to make more money than what he did in football. So that's just my take on it. I feel like a lot of these guys, and granted, if a team is offering me $60 million a year like Dak, probably going to take it. You know what I mean? Like, so I can't blame him, but what are we in it for? Are we in it for greatness, or are we in it for cash? And to each his own, feel free. That's totally fine. Like, I'm not trying to say anything, but that's just my take on it. That's just how I feel ultimately, okay? So I hope that makes sense. Interesting topic for us to talk about. So now, guys, we're going to get into some of your questions. So fellas, if you have questions, stuff you want to ask me and you want to be featured on one of our episodes, guys, post them in the comment section below. I respond and read every single comment that you guys leave on this YouTube channel, and I'll feature some of the good ones on this channel on our next episode. So guys, post your comments and the questions in the comment section below. We'd love to feature you on an episode. Let's get rolling. So first one from Wally Fitzpatrick. Hey, Coach, I have a question. How do you effectively catch a bullet pass that's thrown at you from 5 yards? I have a hard time catching bullet passes that are really close. My hands feel like they're in the right position and the ball just bounces off of them. So, two things. If you're catching a bullet pass and you feel like it bounces off your hands, chances are you're catching it more with your palm. What you need to focus on catching the ball with is the webbing of your hand. Not your fingertips, that's how you'll jam a finger, but the webbing. That's like that soft part of your hand, and that's why grip strength is insanely important. Fingertip push-ups, walking with 2 heavy dumbbells, call that farmer's carry, that can help. Second thing with the bullet pass is the ball probably crosses your nose. I always say if a ball's thrown to you, you want to keep your nose behind the nose of the football. So if that means you got to back your head up a little bit, do it. That would be totally fine, but that'll help you catch a bullet pass. So I appreciate you asking that, man. Next question here, you guys, is from Football C9U7N. Hey, Coach, we do a video about catching in traffic and catching drills for when you have a DB try to punch the ball out of your hands. Another video idea is catching drills at practicing catching with helmets without a helmet. The last part's a little confusing, but when it comes to catching in traffic, a great drill that you can do, get a partner, have him get just a simple dish towel. Have another partner with a football throwing you the ball. Maybe you could do it on a jugs machine. Have that partner wrap the towel around your elbow and pull on your arm, and you got to fight through the pull to be able to catch the ball and then put it away. That's a very simple drill that you can do to work on catching in traffic. If you don't maybe have a towel, maybe like a resistance band around your arm, that is something that you could do as well. So I hope that makes sense, dude. Appreciate you asking that. Next question from Taco Monkey T. Hey, Coach, I'm an undersized, I'm a freshman, about 130 pounds, 5'6" receiver. So if you need to gain weight as a football player, you're undersized, right? I would say it comes down to 3 things. Number 1 is going to be making sure you're in a calorie surplus. So I would say consuming more than what you burn. You got to get some type of calorie tracking tool. It could be a Fitbit, Apple Watch, whatever it is. Wrap it around your wrist, maybe a Whoop if you want to spend the money, and track how many calories you burn on a day-to-day basis. Then look at the back of the food that you eat. How many calories am I consuming? And try to go 40 to 50% above what you burn on a day-to-day basis. Number 2, got to get in the gym and lift correctly. You should be lifting for hypertrophy, which means muscle growth. And so that's that 8 to 12 rep range. And each week you should incrementally try to increase the weight that you are doing the best you possibly can. I know for like curls, it's going to be kind of hard, but you should try to push yourself to failure on all of those sets and continue to progress the weight week in and week out. Make sure you track it, write down how much you did, how many reps you did, and the amount of sets. Last but not least, protein consumption. 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Having some type of protein powder supplement can help you with that. Again, if you guys want this protein, very first link in the description below. But having 1 gram of protein per pound of desired body weight will help you gain weight. So if you're 140, want to get to 150, or in this case, you're 130, want to get to 145, try to consume 145 grams of protein a day. So I hope that makes sense, man. So guys, I appreciate y'all tuning in. Hope this was able to help. Hope this gave you some value. And again, if you have questions, make sure you put those in the comment section below so we can feature you on our next episode of our show. But again, guys, thank you so much. I'll talk to you later.